Good morning, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Money Monday.
Good morning, Michael.
We got just a few more Mondays before we're at Nationals. Holy moly.
You know, getting closer.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are planning on making money that day.
Yep,
So
for sure.
that's that's our topic of discussion. How to make all the money on Nationals at Nationals. Alrighty. So I could go through the back office list and check, but I'm just curious who here already has their ticket? Who's got their seat set up? Who's in it to win it? You guys ever see the Big Lebowski? You guys know about that movie, Big Lebowski?
I have not seen The Big Lebowski.
Boy. All right. Well, here's a. Here is a probably a non-compliant clip about it that might make my video a copyright issue. So I might edit that. Okay, stop this. Every once in a while, this is what comes to my mind. And for those of you who haven't seen the movie, this might make very little sense. It might make all the sense in the world. Maybe that's why I'm bringing this up. Scott, are you saying yes to you've seen it? Yes, the movie's based in California, isn't it? So of course you better have seen it. Okay. Okay, so let's set the tone. They're at the bowling alley. They love bowling. Bowling's their life. It's 39 seconds, so let me just get your take.
This is your partner.
Has the whole world gone crazy? Am I the only one around here who gives a shit about the rules? Market zero!
They're calling the cops, man. Put the piece away.
Market zero!
Walter, put the piece away.
Walter?
You think I'm fucking around here? Market zero!
All right, it's fucking zero. You happy, you crazy fuck?
It's the league game, Smoke.
The league game. All right. I wasn't sure how many bombs were in there. But it's this right here.
The world gone crazy!
The whole world gone
Am I
crazy.
the only one around here who gives a shit about the rules?
Am I the only one around here who cares about the rules? Okay. So my point is, one of the rules is get your Nationals ticket and get it early. The other one is get 5-star. The other one is make $1 million. Right? There's a couple rules around here, and right, the guy he's playing with, the long-haired fellow, gets his toe touches the line, so he's supposed to mark it zero, and they're like, "Oh, come on, man, let me go." And he said, "No, man, these are the rules." So anyway, dun, 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 dun.
Hey, Michael, did you find out if there was a recording that Wednesday evening that you guys had?
I found out what Cosmo wants to do, and we're gonna do another one. Let me pull up the date. Let me pull it up. I believe the next. No, it's not on here. I'll make another post about it. Thank you for the reminder.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
All right. Thank you.
yeah.
Did you have a lot of people there?
There were 25 people total, and a bunch of people I got follow-up, so it looks like we'll be getting some upgrades from that. I think I
Oh.
got 7 follow-ups,
Awesome.
and these are people who already have the EPX, and so I want them to get the Genius course too. And you got to wonder sometimes, like, with all the pieces and parts available to you, and it's the same pieces and parts that are available to others, why are some people getting a 10x or a 100x result, of a 10x, 100x result, right? Like some people are making 2,000, some people are making 200,000. That's a 100x result, right? Some people are making 3,000, others are making 300,000. So with the same tools, the same arrangement, the same program, the same training, the same comp plan, the same status, the same landscape, the same economy, the same market, the same. What's the difference between someone who gets 5,000 a year and someone who gets 500,000 a year? 100x, or even just 10x. Someone who makes 10 grand a year, someone who makes 100 grand a year. What, these are the things that keep me up at night. Why is it that some of my team members are making $500,000 a year and others are making, $500 a month? What is going on here?
Definitely a mindset, and also if you're putting in the work.
Right. So part of it is work. So I'm going to switch over to the whiteboard here in just a minute. And mindset, but let's talk more about that. And good morning to people who are just joining us. Welcome, welcome. Let me get this whiteboard connected to the Zoomers. Sweet. Just got some great news, guys. This. Now I can draw. Deborah's going to join. Oh, you're in the workshop next week? Oh, fantastic, Deborah. This is what I'm talking about. Right? Like the potential, the energy, the opportunity is all still there. No one would look at Deborah and say, Deborah, you're slacking, right? You're on the trainings, you're putting in the offers, you're answering good questions during workshops, you're watching your classes, you're engaged. But why haven't you made $1 million yet? In 10 years, we expect $1 million. Is that an okay expectation from everybody here on this call? Am I expecting too much that you make $1 million over a 10-year period? I mean, I'm seeing Pete right now, and he's, between his marketing and his real estate gains and equities along the years, I'm sure he's pushing that between different deals and, over 6 figures in the marketing. So this whole opportunity, I expect you to make $1 million in 10 years or sooner. And that if you haven't, it's probably not a lack of anything from corporate. It's not a lack of anything from the economy. It's not a lack of anything from the product. Correct, Doug. That's only 100,000 a year. And that's between, your real estate and your marketing, not just marketing. Because some of you have already made $1 million in real estate, but you forgot or you never put it in the right context. Like the other day I was talking to Lily Stott. Excuse me. And she was having this issue about like, oh, I'm so far behind on my goals from where I started and where I want to be. And we're like, well, hold on, let's measure it. Are we sure? And she's like, I wanted to do X number of rentals and have this much cash flow and make this much money. We started counting. And I was like, wait a minute, between all the properties that you own and the equities holdings, and we're being conservative. We're not saying the highest comp on each one. We're just being conservative. She's a multimillionaire just in equity, let alone the cash flow that comes in, plus the other big checks she's got from flips. I'm like, you've made and grown your net worth multiple millions. But, she never put it into that context, so she felt like she was behind. And so what does that feeling do? What does that feeling do? Well, part of what it does is it scrambles your brain. So one thing we covered in the workshop is this cycle here. These pieces feed into each other. And the first part of it is your energy. Your energy is directly related to your attitude. Your attitude is directly related to your activity. And your activity produces a result. Results. So your results are directly linked to your energy. And we could go off on energy for a while, and maybe we will, because different sources of energy produce different things, right? If part of your energy source for your body, for example, is Twinkies and Krispy Kremes, which, boy, howdy, I tell you what, you put 6 Krispy Kreme donuts in front of me, you'll have 0. So be careful. But that energy source is fleeting. And so short term that you have a lack of energy afterwards. So keep those donuts away from me. Vanessa knows when she bakes the cookies, you better hide them or I'll eat them all. But your source of energy, if your energy is positive, it's going to give you a positive attitude. I mean, more than anything, when I go to my office, which I'm in Vanessa's office right now. When I go to my office, I got a big banner right above my computer that says, raise your energy. Because energy is what dictates my attitude. How many more phone calls am I going to make with the right energy and the right attitude? And that positive attitude is going to have me taking positive activity. What kind of activity do I need to be taking? I need to be calling people. I need to be building for events. I need to be booking to nationals more than anything right now, selling tickets, right? If you have 30 guests at nationals, you will sell 10 combos and you will have a 6-figure month, right? It'll be March, but doing everything, all of your paychecks will fall into April. So several of you should be putting your energy towards a 6-figure April. Six-figure April. I can predict right now there'll be at least 5 people that have a six-figure April, but I would like to see 25. Plenty other people are going to have a 5-figure April, right? Make a sale, you get 12 grand. You just made a 5-figure month. Which is nice for sure. But let's get a 6-figure April, which means 30 guests, which means 10 sales. So we start taking the right activity and energy, it's going to give us a positive result. But then we make a vital mistake and we start to get anxious around a result. It's not coming fast enough. Anxious around a result. So what starts to happen is that anxious feeling starts to affect your energy. Oh no, it's not coming fast enough. Oh no, it's not going to be here. Oh no, too hard. I'm scared. All these things. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Attitude gets affected. Then you sit around and you do nothing. And your house crumbles. And the tax man takes it all and they haul you off to psychiatric ward because you think it's all over. Crazy. Of course not. It's all in your head. But then of course you're going to get a negative result. And then because you got that negative result, it feeds into that anxiousness and it makes it worse. And that makes it worse. And that makes it worse. And that makes it worse. And you just get into this yuck cycle of negativity and you spiral down. And I think that's one of the metaphors for hell. And it came down to this type of energy that folks are putting out. This anxious energy. Not in our world. We need to maintain our own energy. So what are some things we could do to grow our energy? Some energy growing methods. One is affirmations. Now remember to affirm the truth. Tony Robbins has a great example. He says, some people misuse informations. They'll go into their terribly neglected garden with weeds running rampant and just infestation everywhere, and they sit down and they meditate on this affirmation. There's no weeds, there's no weeds, there's no weeds. Don't do that. There's weeds. So don't be affirming lies. Affirm the truth.
Pull the weeds, right?
Pull those darn weeds, turn them up, put them in your compost pile, and bring them back in 6 months. And then they'll be usable. But yeah, affirmations. Now you can say different kinds of affirmations that get you somewhere. Like one that I really enjoy is day by day, in every way, I'm getting better and better. That I'm affirming progress, not a destination. Okay, so Anthony's got a good one here. Surround yourself with positive, energetic people. So I'm going to put in one word, associations. Who you associate with. And there are 3 levels of associations, in case you didn't know. There are expanded, limited, and non. Some associations you need to expand. Some associations, because of where you're at and situation, they're limited. For example, you have a really negative coworker, but you need the job. Okay? Limited association. And then there's some people who just fall into the category of non-association. We do not associate And that might be family members for now. Maybe they'll change. But when you mix it up and you think, well, because blood is thicker than water, and we love each other so much that I need to expand my association, but really it's either limited or none. And fool yourself, and then you have an energy vampire. I'm typing the reply to Deborah. Something else that raises your energy, and it in different words and different ways people say it, but essentially it's count your blessings. Count your blessings. That raises your energy too. Then you take this high energy attitude of I am blessed. I'm getting better. I'm getting stronger. I'm getting closer. And that type of attitude, this can-do attitude, that can-do attitude is what feeds into everything else. So what's funny is sometimes I'll feel it on these calls or with different conversations where I'll say, all right, 30 guests at nationals. And some of you want to immediately say some curse words and you say, I can't get 30 guests to nationals. Ooh, I almost barfed in my mouth just from saying that. We cannot, no. The only time you can use can't is when you're saying you can't say can't. Right. You use a double negative there. But folks, this is the downfall. As soon as the thing is mentioned that needs to be done, then this attitude of can't comes in. That starts a negative cycle right there, and it automatically puts it into a negative activity. There's no way to get away from that. In our house, can't is a swear word, and we don't take kindly to that. So, the other day Benjamin was writing out some Valentine's cards. He's got some friends, some neighbors, some kids he wants to go and play with. He's writing it out, and about halfway through, he says, "Oh, I can't." We go, "Whoa! Hold on a sec here, man. First of all, you can. I've watched you write many things. Second of all, what do we say instead of can't? There's something else to say. Say, how can I?" So don't feed into this thing with your brain that says, "Oh, I can't get that many guests to nationals. I can't have a six-figure April." No. The question is, how can I? All right. A few other things about energy, real quick, is Whole Foods. Okay? If you aren't able to pronounce the ingredients, don't eat it. Stop it. Maybe one meal a week. Go to town on your dichloral, difluoromethane, goofy foods. But Whole Foods drastically change how your brain operates. I've watched Pete over the years change what he eats, and his energy just shot through the roof. So, and I know some of you can attest to that. I'm sure if I gave Ada the floor, she would have a whole presentation about Whole Foods for us. But start switching. One ingredient foods: apple, pear, celery, steak, egg, wheat noodles. Non-GMO, of course. You don't want to have that goofy stuff in you. Anyway, Whole Foods, more water, alkaline water. Eating a whole McDonald's does not count. That's your whole food. No, something else is a meditation. Some of you don't want to admit it, but you have undiagnosed ADD or ADHD. You know, people my generation and older. The kids who are younger than me, they all got the diagnosis so that the pharmaceutical companies could get the prescriptions and get the money and get the. It's a subscription to a prescription. It's awful. But my point is that there are still some things about how our brain deals with work and stress and triggers. But because you were out of school and you had a job and you could bite your tongue on some things, you didn't act out as much, you didn't get labeled. But when it comes time to work, make a website, make a phone call, make a sale, do something, that part of your brain kicks in and you ignore it. You play into the Oompa Loompas, as Cosmo would like to say. So for now, if you haven't been initiated into a certain meditation, then just do a guided meditation. Actually, I will post my favorite. I have a 5-minute meditation and a 10-minute meditation that when I'm like, you know what? I just real quick need this. I'll put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I'll tell Vanessa I'll be back in 15 minutes. This one right here is my favorite. For 10 minutes. I also have a 5-minute one. I like to use the 5-minute one in the car, like right before I go meet somebody. So there's the 10-minute meditation in the chat there. And then here's my 5-minute. Because you got to think, man, if your entire results are based on your energy, then energy must be maximum importance. So meditations daily. And some of you are like, I don't know how to meditate. Well, some of you like to pray a lot. That's a version of it. Some of you like to concentrate. If meditation is a funny word for you, you put concentration. Concentrate. It will change everything for you. And then something else to get your energy up is walking. I know it's crazy. These meat suits that we have are meant for walking, but most people don't walk anymore. We got cars, we got scooters, we got every, mobile device is shortening how much we walk, but walking brings more blood into your head. That cleaner blood, because you're breathing more, helps you control and maintain your energy so that you can have a more magnetic and attractive attitude. And that's what your attitude needs to be. It needs to be attractive. It needs to be magnetic. These things here are what create synchronicities, where it's like there's so many things that are slightly disconnected that by random chance should not be shouldn't come together, but they do. They come together and create synchronicity. Synchronics. And then this is what happens when like Tamara had this happen to her a couple weeks ago, maybe it's a couple months now, where she was invited to a workshop. She didn't want to go. They signed her up for a thing she didn't want to sign up for. But the thing was about how to change your energy, your attitude, be more productive, get more results. She's like, all right, I know I need to do it. And then by being in the class, changed her attitude. She became much more attractive, much more magnetic, and things started to synchronize in her life to where I think she made like 6 Renata sales in a matter of like 3 weeks. Almost effortlessly. She just mentioned, I do real estate, and they all started flooding. I want in, I want in, I want in. And drastically improved her network. She wasn't there to go sell. She wasn't there to do pitches. She was there to work on herself. But because she started working on herself, her attitude became much more attractive and magnetic. And the things that were on her mind started happening, which in her, what she wants to do is grow her business, gain more investors, gain more clients. And so if you want more synchronicity in your life, it's about your attitude. And then yeah, there's an equation for that. Anthony reminded me. To me versus for me. This is happening to me, or this is happening for me. It's so strange, man. How this is like the teeter-totter right here about this is your teeter-totter, it's your attitude teeter-totter right here. You know what, I'm gonna make it bigger fulcrum. There we go. Your attitude teeter-totter. To me or for me? Because you can't tell the difference. You can't tell what's going to happen in the future. And you go back and look at something that happened last year, 2 years ago, 5 years ago, and in that moment, while you were in it, if you weren't controlling your attitude, you would say, this is happening to me, which is weak. No power in saying this is happening to me. But the for me is the power. And what you are picking right here is where the whole balance can shift in your power. Some of you, that's all you need to change. You're taking good activity, but your attitude is still, this is happening to me. So I need to do this because this happened to me. I need to do this because it happened to me. I need to make more money because this happened to me. Anthony could do that. You saw his post up here earlier about people scamming him out of a deal. And he could say, this happened to me, and be a victim and be gross and non-attractive, and no one would want to work with him. And his turnaround time would take much longer. But he said, this happened for me. And when you get scammed out of some money and you have the attitude of it happened for me, it'll never happen again. Because, simply put, you could say, I'd rather get scammed out of 100 grand than out of 1 million. So I'm glad it happened now on only 100 grand. Because I'm headed towards millions, and if I didn't know how to notice scams and nasty crap like that, then when my stacks got bigger, I'd risk even more. So I'm glad this happened to me, or I'm glad this happened for me, and I can make something out of it. It's wild, man. It's the same thing. Like, one reason why I think I got out of my mess so quick once I found Renatus is I used to say the student loan happened to me. The student loan was choking me and taking my money and my life, sucking the oxygen out of the room. It happened to me. But then I got to thinking, well, wait a minute. If I didn't have that student loan, I wouldn't have the motivation and the pain and the discomfort to go and find something like Renatus to revolutionize my life.
Yeah,
I
you
need-
wouldn't be here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I needed that student loan to impoverish me to the point of so much pain that I had to say enough is enough. But in that moment, when they're calling me 20 times a day, my credit score's in the tank, and I'm getting the collection letters, and that feels terrible, and it's hard to say this is happening for me. This is happening for me. This is happening for me. And it was back then. It was a lot of this is to me. I got tricked by the Department of Education. I got tricked by this school organizations and blah blah. Why me? No, don't do that. That's a to me attitude. For me is where the power is. It's happening for me, for my use. Oh. So you want to be able to use something in the future for my use. How can I use this? I mean, that's one reason why Dane is such a powerful investor. Is he saw something that happened to his family financially, and he said, "Nope." And this is happening for a bigger reason, which is why he can run, a 10 million on his way to $100 million portfolio. There's no question in my mind that if he does this for another 10 years, he will pass $100 million in value, not in cash flow, right? We got to qualify that. There's value, there's cash flow, there's net gains, there's gross gains. There's a bunch of different ways to say the money. What I'm going to say is in portfolio value. 100 million. But you go back and look at the devastation he had to deal with. His attitude of it happened for me is why he's so successful now. Okay? So when you have this for me type of power going into activity zone, activity time, you're going to take massive activity. And in my mind, in our world, what we're working on, the massive activity is phone calls, invitations, Q&As, website development and promotion. Right? Some of you can be selling essentials on websites, but you haven't put in the right arrangement of things to make it happen yet. Same here. One thing I'm working on. Massive activity. Also studying, becoming knowledgeable, becoming an expert. You know what I was doing last night? I was watching my Renatus classes. Why? Because I could not think of anything better to do. It was like 10 o'clock. I wasn't necessarily tired. Talking to Vanessa about something, and she was saying, "Oh, I want to, leave it to the creative type." She's like, "I want to build this and this. I want to put something in the backyard, and I want to." I mean, it requires some planning. It requires some machines and some capital. I'm like, all right, well, if we want to make this extra capital, do I want like the little kid version of her idea, or do I want the best, biggest, brightest version of her idea? Well, of course, the latter. So I said, okay, I know what I need to do. I need to put a fund together. So for the third time, I went back and watched Bridger's class on putting together funds, launching a fund, developing a fund, and started studying the fund thing again because I got the proper motivation, right? I got a can-do attitude.
Did you say Richard? Richard Stock?
What are you talking about? Richard? Bridger.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about like how to get the. I thought you were talking about like a recording that Richard did.
Gilda, do you have an update on how Smart is going?
Well, hold on a sec now. I got this diagram. I'm 75% through. Hold on a sec. We all want to know, but let me finish my little rant. So, studying, having conversations, advertising. This is the type of activity that will get you to your result. And then the result is what? Close a deal, close a sale. But even then, even if it's a small thing, right? You do your first partnership deal and you get a couple bucks out of it. That's enough to stir the whole process again, raise your energy, which raises your attitude, which you can now put more activity into. Okay, and some of this stuff, if you have the right attitude while you're doing the activity, your need for sleep actually goes away, goes down quite a bit. Some of you are like, oh, I need 9 hours of sleep or 10 hours of sleep. That's an attitude problem. That's not an energy problem. If you're working on something that is exciting and you know will make the future that much better and brighter, you could get by on 6 hours of sleep. You go to bed at midnight, you get up at 6. I can't wait to hit the next thing. I can't wait. I can't wait. That's how you use the word can't. I can't wait. Cool. And let's go after it. But if you find yourself needing to sleep 10 hours a day, unless you're healing from an injury, you got a terrible attitude. That's what that tells me. Now, for the next, 39 days until we get to nationals? Was it 38, 39 days? If you are eating right and you have the right attitude and you're working on stuff, you could get by on 5 hours of sleep. Now, after nationals, we'll have a recovery period. We'll sleep in for a week. But if you want a 6-figure April and you're starting from 0, then the type of energy and your affirmations, your associations, counting your blessings, working on eating whole food, drinking cleaner water, definitely meditating. Some of you are weirded out by that word, so we'll put concentrate. Going to feed directly into your attitude, this attitude of I can. I can. This I can is so attractive that people want to be around you and you won't be able to explain it. That's what the synchronicity means. Unexplainable alignment of events that you need, or relationships if it's not events. That synchronicity combined with your activity, and because we are marketers, we're real estate investors, we're developers, our activity is specific. It's phone calls, it's invitations, it's answering people's questions, it's building promo material, it's studying, becoming an expert, having more conversations and advertising, which will then lead to more closings, more deals, more sales. And we'll get rid of this anxious nonsense and get back into a productive cycle. This whole thing is why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Poor people have a terrible attitude. Poor people have a misuse of their energy. It's not about money. It's not about the economy. It's not about regulations in an industry. It comes down to your energy, your attitude, your activity, which will produce your result. Now for us, let's keep it simple and let's make our result 6-figure April. How would that revolutionize your life? How would that impact the problems you're dealing with right now? Would the problems that are affecting your energy right now, right? You got something right now that's affecting your energy. Could that be alleviated with an extra $100,000? If so, then making that result should be your top priority. All right, let me read this real quick, and then we'll get a quick update on smart stuff. So let's see. Yep. Perfect. Yep. Awesome. Indeed. Nice. Every time you say can't, you're gonna pay for it. That's awesome. One other thing on energy that I wanted to, that's made a big difference for me is I have, I guess we'll call it a blue light blocker. Blue light blocker. I don't look at any screens that pump out blue light. Okay, I have on my iPad, on my phone, on my laptop. We don't have a TV, so I don't have to worry about that. But blue light blockers, there's something that happens when it hits the back of your retina and tickles the inside of your brain to mess with your energy levels and your circadian rhythm, your cortisol production. It's all linked. So if some of you, if you're finding that it's hard to fall asleep or hard to wake up, it could be you're getting way too much blue light from your devices. And because of the nature of our business, we need to be analyzing deals, running numbers, looking at spreadsheets, checking emails, running Zooms. We're going to be on our screens quite a bit throughout the day. And sometimes, because you got kids or different schedules, you got to work at night. Make sure you're blocking that blue light. Put it on dark mode. On MacBooks, it's called night shift. On my iPad here, we go into display and brightness. So yeah, it's called night shift right here. So for some reason, it doesn't let you turn it on for 24/7. You see the difference here? I don't know if you can see it on the Zoom or not. No, it doesn't look any different. I got it on maximum warm. Yeah, it doesn't look any different on you, but on my thing, here it's blue, here it's orange. So every device should have blue blocker. Make it warm, make it orange, and you will see a big difference in how you sleep and your energy to be able to regain the next day. So anyway, there's that for you. And if you have any questions, put them in the chat. Let's hear Gilda. Please tell us how many people have upgraded from the test drive in the new system. Or are you going to have more for us tomorrow? Because I know you got your executive meeting later today, right? All right, we've lost Gilda. She is chasing her dog around the house. All right, well, we'll get an update tomorrow then.
Hi, Michael. Okay,
Welcome
sorry
back.
about that. I don't know what happened. It just, I couldn't get to where I need to open my mic. But yeah, so yeah, right now since we started, we sold, I think there's like about 80 some test drives. And the only thing that I know, we'll get more today, today's update. But the only
Did you
ones I
say
know is like 3.
80
Yeah,
test
yeah,
drive?
yeah,
Wow, fantastic.
yeah. I think they're about that.
Wait, 80
That's
out of how many people using it though?
yeah. That I'm not sure.
And
How many is using it,
how
but
many leads are going through? Like, give it, like, we want the whole picture. Because if there's 80 and there's a million going through,
I don't know for sure how many, but I know sometimes like last Saturday or like a week ago Saturday, there were like about 400 something, even 600, but there was like 125 that showed up. And Monday, there's a lot more people on Mondays now. And Wednesdays, those are the 3 days that are big. So, we'll find out more from Eric today. So I'll let you guys know about tomorrow what the update. But right now we actually have a link now that we could actually use to give to people, and they can register themselves. So we can use that for like social media and all that stuff.
Are
And
people? Oh, sorry.
go ahead.
Are they only using Eventbrite? Like, are they using? Yeah, are they only using Eventbrite? Or are they
Well,
using
you
other
could
sources?
you could use any as long as you just plug in, the people on the intro. That's really our job, is to do, lead gen and then plug it in on intro. So that's really what we're doing. It could be Eventbrite, could be Facebook, whatever it is you do. 3 foot rule. But I wouldn't, if for me, if it's my warm market, then I'll just do a one-on-one, with that. Because then if you put it in there, then they're gonna be just selling the test drive. So if I have a warm market that I'm talking. If I'm talking to people, I'm going all in. I'm talking all in. So now with with the intro that you're going to the funnel, it's actually just talking about the essentials. They don't even know about the other ones. So yeah, but I know it's right now they're just that's all they're focusing is selling the test drive. And then they go through all these events, and then that's when they say, and then after maybe a week, or they're between like maybe a week to like a month, that they're gonna be buying the essentials. And then of course down the road will be the epics. So we'll probably see more of the epics. I know Scott just had a advanced upgrade. He just said that this morning. So it's already working, but that's the ones. And I know there's a few cash essentials already that went in. And not me personally, I don't have. I've sold like 4 test drives so far for like the whole month. So, but I have, there's more interested, but they haven't really get into,
Wait,
that.
so Scott, upgraded a cell that he already had, or like?
No, from this process.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He just mentioned that, but we'll get more of the stat, from Eric, because he has all of them. And, be able to do, the, what the numbers are. And how many people went in because he's not really I know he has a number of how many people have registered, have attended, which we can track that like every event. But for Eric, he has access to it for like when we started, how many people went in, how many people checked in, how many people bought a test drive. And now there's actually a link that he was showing it to me, where you can actually see how many people they're actually looking into it, how long they stay. So you can kind of know when you're following up with these people that, oh, this person is interested. And I love about where there's a link now that you can send, and you don't even have to register people. So it's all about like really taking your time, back. So this is more of like, this is supposed to be like a semi passive. And so if you can, I know you can't use the link, on Eventbrite, because they'll shut us down, because that's basically bypassing them. But if you have other, like if you're using it on LinkedIn, Facebook, where you are allowed to put the link, that would be awesome. So I don't have those yet, but I know Eric is working on it. I was already talking to him about that, and he's talking that on the call too. and that he's working on, on that. So once, right now he's focusing on the system because there's still things that needing like updating or something sequence that's not, not quite working the way it should. So that's where he's at right now. But the next one will be the lead generation. Because right now it's just like, we're not even talking to the top of the funnel, we're just talking to the bottom of the funnel. So that way we have more time to, do real estate. And I can see it, I can really see it, with the process, but it's just that this process is gonna take, longer to see the epics cash. But once, you get that and you have more people in the funnel, then you're just talking to, people that have, gotten the test drive, you get them to the essentials, and then you work on, getting the epics. For me, what I do is like I talk with, with them already, right off the bat, they ask how much it is. I tell them, if they ask me, yeah. So because they don't hear the price, the 26,000, they don't hear that up until they get to like their end already.
And it's not necessarily good or bad or right or wrong. It's just a method
Yes,
for,
yes, it is. Yeah,
right?
and
Like,
that's what I want to do this one because again, it's like this would be a great way for like a retirement income, like if you wanna just be able to do more, you don't have to do like the 3 foot rule, but I want to do both. Like I want to do this, and I also want to do like the, what Richard Stock is training right now with the ATM, because this is like completely opposite system. With the 30/30, it's like, okay, plug in as many people. The more people you're gonna have, the better result. It's just all numbers. But for Richard, it's more about like having quality leads.
yeah.
So those two. So that's what I want to do. I'm gonna start doing, more of one-on-one. But I do that now anyway. If they can't get to the intro, I do one-on-one. And but if I can, depending upon who I talk to, if I see that this person is really serious or like and also ready and able, I will do a one-on-one right there and then. I don't wait for an intro.
But what do you think about
Gil-
this?
Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
sorry.
Huh?
I was gonna say, Gilda, what do you go over in your one-on-one meetings?
Yeah, I just basically go over the classes. I go to the, at first, of course, you need to find out what their, challenge is and how you're going to resolve that. And then when I do, and to solve the, challenge, I go through the classes. Oh yeah, this one you have a mortgage. This is a classes that's gonna, help you with that paying it off a lot faster. Oh, you have a problem with taxes? Oh, this is the. So I just kind of walk him through. So basically, I'm just being a tour guide.
Perfect, thank you.
hmm So that's just my process, and I don't again I don't stay very long. Again, I should say if there's a problem, I know Richard said, well, don't answer more than 2 questions. But that's again, if you plug him into the intro, you don't want to, answer more than 2 questions because you'll be there, all day, right? But if I'm doing one-on-one, I get the answer to them right away.
Yeah, and I wouldn't spend time answering questions until you know that they're ready and willing to pay for it,
Yes, yes, absolutely.
right? And like the
Y-
difference, like when Richard was talking to me, I was a broke person with no money, no car, no credit, but he could tell I would go get the money. So
mhm,
he spent more time with me.
right.
And so you know, that's part of your distinction here. But this is how I like to think about it, and then I gotta run. The introduction answers the question why we exist as a company, the intro. Okay. Then the epic or the house tour goes over what we are. We're an education company. We do properties income community. The Q&A is how we work. Okay. Decentralized training platforms, local communities, study groups, coaching, the whole thing. And then funding, how to pay, and then you get in. So the first 4 major steps, you are getting $0, which goes against your brainwash training from kindergarten that you would get paid for time you put into something. That's not how this works. But then once you get them in, you're welcome. You get a $12,000 check. And then Bob Steiner said, hey, if you help them become 5-star and duplicate the process, we'll give you an additional 27. So each customer could be worth $39,000 in profit to your business. So is it worth it to stay up late, to learn these skills, to try harder, to answer some questions, to figure out what they actually need, to make your website, to make your flyers, to do the thing? Do a big burst, next 40 days, get obsessed with this. When you get back home from nationals, take a nap. But until then, let's get to work.
Quick question, Michael. Are you going to upload this so we can review it on
Yes.
on the channel?
I will, for sure. I need to
Perfect.
cut out the beginning Big Lebowski clip, but yeah, then we'll get into it.
Okay, thank you. Have a
All
great
right.
day, everyone.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thanks for being
guys.
here. Thanks for your participation.
Oh,
and
well, thank you, Michael. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Go
Thank
make
you
it a
very
great
much.
day.
This is awesome.
We'll see you soon. Bye, everyone.